There is a particular kind of tiredness that sleep does not fix. You lie down at night, your body finally still, the room quiet, the lights off. For a moment you think rest will come quickly, but instead your mind becomes louder. Thoughts begin lining up one after another. Not dramatic fears, not catastrophic worries, just small unfinished things. A conversation you replay, an email you might have worded better, something you need to do tomorrow morning, then something else you might forget, then a situation that hasn't even happened yet. You turn your pillow, you adjust the blanket, you try to force yourself not to think, but the harder you try to stop, the more active your mind becomes. The day is over, yet your brain is still working. After enough nights like this, you start interpreting it personally. I overthink everything. My brain just won't relax. Maybe I'm just an anxious person. It feels like a personality flaw, as if your mind is somehow weaker or more sensitive than other people's. But this is rarely the real cause. The mind is not refusing to rest. It is refusing to leave unfinished processing. Throughout the day, your brain absorbs enormous amounts of information. Messages, notifications, conversations, decisions, background noise, screens, expectations. Your attention moves quickly from one thing to the next. Very few moments clearly end. Instead, your mind carries open loops forward. When night finally removes external activity, the brain uses the only quiet time available to organize everything it couldn't earlier. So the thinking you notice at night did not begin at night. It was postponed until night. In many parts of Japan, evenings follow a consistent slowing pattern. Lights soften, activities narrow, people bathe, drink tea, or sit quietly for a short time. The purpose is not productivity or even relaxation in the usual sense. It is transition. The brain receives a clear signal that the day is concluding. Processing gradually settles before sleep. Without a transition, your mind has no marker that activity has ended. So it continues running simulations, planning, remembering, predicting, long after your body lies still. Instead of forcing yourself to stop thinking, you can give your brain a gentle ending. 10 minutes before sleep, dim the lights. Avoid screens. Might repeat the same simple action each night. Maybe washing your face slowly, making tea, or sitting quietly in one spot. You are not trying to relax perfectly. You are informing your nervous system that the day is complete. Your mind is not broken. It is unfinished. And when the brain finally recognizes that nothing more is required tonight, thoughts begin to soften on their own. You were never thinking too much. You were simply never given a clear moment to stop. If you look closely at your day, you may notice something unusual. Very few moments are actually empty. When you wake up, you check your phone. While eating, a video plays in the background. During a commute, you listen to a podcast. While walking, you scroll. Even when you rest, your mind is still receiving information. Silence almost never appears naturally anymore, and when it does appear, it often feels uncomfortable. You might sit in a quiet room for a minute and quickly feel the urge to reach for something. Music, a message, a notification, any small input. Many people assume this is boredom, but it is not boredom. It is unfamiliarity. Your mind has not forgotten how to be calm. It has forgotten how to be still. You are not addicted to activity because you enjoy being busy. You are avoiding empty space because empty space reveals unprocessed thoughts. The moment external input stops, internal processing resumes. so you fill the gap again, not consciously, but instinctively. In Japanese aesthetics, there is a concept called ma. It refers to intentional emptiness, the pause between sounds, the open space in a room, the silence within conversation. It is not absence. It is a place where the mind can breathe. Anxious thinking often grows when the brain has no opportunity to release accumulated information. Without pauses, thoughts stack quietly in the background. You may not notice them during the day because new stimuli constantly override them. But later, especially at night, they return all at once. Silence at first can feel slightly restless. You might notice random memories, unfinished worries, or scattered ideas. That does not mean the quiet is harming you. It means the mind is decompressing. Like opening a window in a warm room, the air needs time to circulate. Try a small experiment. Once each day, sit somewhere for 5 minutes without audio, without scrolling, without trying to meditate. You are not trying to control your thoughts. You are allowing them to move freely without interruption. At first, your attention may jump rapidly. That is normal. The brain is releasing stored activity. After a few minutes, the pace usually slows on its own. You do not need to solve every thought. You do not need to analyze them. The purpose is not insight. The purpose is space. Over time, these short pauses act like pressure release valves. The mind does not need to wait until midnight to process the day. The quiet may feel strange initially, but strange does not mean wrong. It means unfamiliar. Your anxiety does not always come from too many thoughts. Sometimes it comes from never giving those thoughts a place to settle. You may notice how often your body is in one place, while your mind is somewhere else. You eat a meal, but you are thinking about tomorrow's schedule. You walk outside, but you are replaying a conversation from yesterday. You sit with someone you care about, yet part of your attention is imagining a future problem that hasn't happened. Nothing is technically wrong in these moments. You are still living your life, but your nervous system never receives the message that the present moment is safe enough to stay in. It keeps scanning ahead, predicting, preparing. Many people interpret this as a focus problem. They think they lack concentration or mental discipline. In reality, the mind is doing what it believes protects you. It is attempting to control uncertainty. Anxiety is not always fear of something specific. Often it is the effort to manage all possible outcomes at once. There is a Japanese idea called ichigo ichie. It roughly means one moment, one meeting. The idea suggests that each encounter, each ordinary moment, exists only once in exactly that form. Because it will never repeat, the appropriate response is full attention to what is happening now. In traditional tea gatherings, participants are not rushing toward a result. They notice the temperature of the cup, the sound of water pouring, the arrangement of the room. Nothing dramatic changes externally, yet internally the mind stops projecting forward. Attention anchors to immediate experience. You do not need a ceremony to practice this. Choose one small activity each day and let it exist by itself. When you drink tea or coffee, just drink. When you shower, feel the water temperature. When you walk, notice the rhythm of your steps. Not in a forced or intense way, but gently returning attention whenever it drifts. The goal is not perfect mindfulness. The goal is reducing simultaneous mental timelines. The brain can process one present experience calmly. It struggles when running past, present, and future at the same time. By allowing one moment to be complete, you reduce the constant predictive work your mind performs. You might notice your thoughts still wander. That is expected. Each time you gently return attention to what you are doing, you send a signal to your nervous system. There is no immediate threat to solve right now. You are not ignoring the future. You are temporarily releasing the need to manage it continuously. Strangely, when the mind rests inside the present even briefly, physical tension softens. Breathing slows. Small worries feel less urgent. The present moment does not fix tomorrow's problems, but it gives your brain permission to pause its surveillance. And sometimes, a few minutes without guarding the future is enough for the body to remember what calm feels like again. There is a quiet pressure many people carry without realizing it. You check your messages quickly so no one waits. You reread emails before sending them, adjusting small phrases. You delay starting a project because you want to do it correctly. You hesitate before speaking because you are searching for the best wording. None of these actions seem extreme, yet together they create a constant background tension. You may describe it as responsibility or being careful, but often it is something else. The hope that if everything is done perfectly enough, nothing uncomfortable will happen. This does not come from arrogance. It comes from protection. If you never make mistakes, no one will criticize you. If you prepare enough, nothing will surprise you. If you think long enough, you won't choose wrong. Yet the mind quietly pays a cost. When every action must be optimized, every decision feels significant. Small tasks become mentally heavy because they carry emotional consequences. You are not just answering a message. You are managing how you will be perceived. You are not just completing a task. You are preventing possible future problems. Anxiety grows in this environment because your brain stays on alert, constantly checking outcomes. In Okinawa, there is a traditional saying, "Hara hachi bu." Eat until you are about 80% full. The idea is not only about food, it reflects a broader philosophy of stopping before excess. Enough is considered healthy. Completion does not require total saturation. Applied psychologically, this becomes permission to stop at sufficient. Not every message needs perfect wording. Not every task requires maximum effort. Not every decision needs complete certainty. Finishing at a reasonable point allows the mind to close the loop and rest. You can try a small adjustment. When completing something today, pause at the moment it is clearly adequate. Send the email once it communicates clearly. End the task when it works. Allow small imperfections to remain. At first, this may feel uncomfortable. Your mind may want to recheck, refine, or improve. That urge is familiar because it has been your way of creating safety. But gradually, you may notice something important. Most feared consequences never appear. By not pushing to 100% every time, you reduce the constant vigilance your brain maintains. Enoughness is calming. Your life does not need to be flawless to be stable. In fact, insisting on perfection often prevents your mind from ever resting, because perfection has no clear finish line. You are allowed to stop earlier than your worry suggests. You are allowed to leave small things incomplete. And when you do, your mind learns that safety does not come from controlling everything. It comes from trusting that most things do not require control at all. Sometimes anxiety does not feel like thoughts at all. It feels like heaviness. You sit at your desk and cannot focus. You move from one task to another without finishing. You feel mentally crowded, yet you cannot explain exactly why. You may assume you need better time management, stronger discipline, or more motivation. But look around your physical space. Papers stacked unevenly. notifications blinking, objects scattered across the table, clothes resting on a chair. Nothing dramatic, nothing extreme, just many small visual signals competing for attention. The brain constantly scans its surroundings, even when you are not consciously aware of it. Every item in your field of view is information your mind must categorize: important or not important, relevant or irrelevant. When too many signals exist at once, your attention divides automatically. The result is not obvious distraction, but low-level cognitive strain. You are not disorganized because you are careless. You are tired because your brain has been filtering non-stop. In Japan, there is a practice called osoji, a deep cleaning traditionally done at the end of the year. It is not only about hygiene, it marks closure. By clearing the environment, people symbolically release mental residue from the past months. The act itself becomes calming because it reduces unfinished signals in the mind. You do not need a full day of cleaning to experience this effect. Choose one small area, a corner of your desk, a shelf, a small drawer. Spend 3 minutes clearing it. Remove what does not belong. Arrange only what you truly use. While doing this, you may notice something subtle. As the physical space becomes simpler, your breathing slows slightly. Your attention stabilizes. This is not imagination. Your brain now has fewer inputs to monitor. Order in the environment does not guarantee emotional peace, but it lowers background tension. The mind relaxes when it no longer must track constant visual information. Try repeating this daily with a different small space, not as a chore, but as a reset. You are not organizing perfectly. You are reducing signals. Calm often arrives quietly, not from solving every worry, but from decreasing the number of things your brain must process at once. You were never overwhelmed only by your thoughts. You were overwhelmed by everything your mind was trying to hold simultaneously. And sometimes, clearing a small physical space is the first moment your mind realizes it can finally set something down. When you feel anxious, your first instinct is usually to rest. You sit down, open your phone, and scroll. You watch videos, read updates, or listen to something in the background. It feels like a break. Your body is still, and for a moment, you are distracted from your thoughts. Yet after some time, you notice something confusing. You are not truly calmer. Your eyes are tired, your mind is full, and the tension quietly remains. You did rest physically, but your attention never stopped working. Your brain processes every image, every sound, every sentence. Even passive viewing requires interpretation, prediction, and reaction. So while your body paused, your nervous system stayed active. You did not relax incorrectly. You simply chose a form of rest that still demanded mental effort. In Japan, there is a practice called Shinrin-yoku, often translated as forest bathing. It does not mean hiking intensely or exercising hard. It means slowly walking through a natural space without a destination, without headphones, without trying to accomplish anything. The purpose is not fitness, it is attention recovery. In natural environments, stimuli are soft and non-urgent, leaves moving, hear distant sounds, changing light. The brain observes without needing to evaluate quickly. There are no notifications, no decisions, no performance expectations. Your mind shifts from directed attention to open awareness. Even outside a forest, slow walking can create a similar effect. When you walk without a goal, your breathing matches your steps. Your eyes scan gently instead of focusing intensely. Thoughts still appear, but they pass more easily because your brain is no longer compressed into constant processing. You can try this in a simple way. Step outside for 10 or 15 minutes. Do not bring a podcast. Do not call someone. Do not measure distance or speed. Walk slightly slower than usual and let your surroundings exist without analysis. At first, your mind may keep racing. You might feel the urge to check your phone or hurry. That is normal. Your brain is used to stimulation. But after a few minutes, something gradual often happens. Your shoulders lower slightly. Your breathing deepens. Thoughts space out. The nervous system recognizes a signal. There is nothing to solve right now. This is why many worries feel clearer after a quiet walk. Not because you forced solutions, but because your brain finally exited its alert mode. Rest is not only absence of work, it is absence of continuous input. You do not always need to think your way out of anxiety. Sometimes your mind needs a sensory environment gentle enough that it no longer has to protect you. You are not broken because you still feel tense after sitting still with a screen. Your mind has simply not been given a place where it is safe to release attention. And when attention softens, the body often follows, as if it finally understands that vigilance is no longer required. A large part of anxiety comes from a very quiet expectation. You want to make the right decision. You want to say the correct thing. You want to choose a path that will not lead to regret later. So before acting, your mind runs possibilities. If I do this, what happens? If I choose that, what could go wrong? The thinking feels responsible, even necessary. But the mind does not know when to stop. Every choice has multiple outcomes. Because certainty is impossible, the brain keeps searching for it. You replay conversations after they end. You imagine future scenarios repeatedly. You reconsider decisions already made. You are not trying to worry. You are trying to guarantee safety in advance. Yet the more you attempt to eliminate uncertainty, the more your attention remains locked on it. Anxiety often survives not because danger exists, but because the mind believes perfect control is required. There is a Japanese aesthetic idea called wabi-sabi. It recognizes beauty in imperfection and incompleteness. A cracked bowl repaired with visible lines, an uneven texture, a weathered surface. The value does not come from flawlessness. It comes from acceptance of natural irregularity. Applied to daily life, this becomes a different relationship with decisions and mistakes. You are allowed to speak imperfectly in a conversation. You are allowed to choose without full information. You are allowed to leave minor uncertainties unresolved. When you permit small imperfections, the brain receives a new message. Not every outcome must be managed. Try a gentle practice. Once each day, deliberately allow something small to remain slightly imperfect. Send a message without rereading it multiple times. Leave a minor task simply adequate. Choose between two options without researching endlessly. At first, your mind may react with concern. It may want to return and fix it. But gradually you notice that most consequences are minimal. The world continues normally. The feared reactions rarely appear. Over time, your nervous system learns that safety does not depend on constant correction. You begin spending less mental energy predicting reactions that never come. Peace does not arrive when life becomes certain. Life never becomes certain. Peace arrives when your mind no longer treats uncertainty as danger. You were never anxious because you were weak. You were anxious because you cared about preventing harm. To your future, your relationships, your choices. But you do not need to guard every possibility for life to continue safely. As you allow small imperfections, your mind reduces its surveillance. Thoughts still exist, but they soften. Decisions become lighter. Even quiet moments feel less tense. Calm does not require controlling everything. It requires trusting that most things do not need control at all. And when the need to constantly anticipate fades, anxiety slowly loosens its grip, leaving a quieter space where your thoughts can finally rest.